Aw, animals.
Bad dog, bad dog. Finn, a mixed breed, was walking off the leash on a trail with his human Reed Thompson and Thompson's girlfriend in Ontario, Canada on Sunday. Finn usually stays close by, but that day he caught a whiff of deer and went into hound mode, ignoring commands to return. Thompson told Fox News Finn chased Bambi along a road through a hospital and back onto another road. He said the two animals tangled for a bit before scaling a guardrail and coming to some ice. But while Rudolph got away, Finn was put in the doghouse after being nabbed by Canada's finest. This photo went viral on Twitter, spawning #FreeFinn and dog versus deer memes galore. Reportedly, the pup was later released, but his owners received a very un-Canadian talking to about animal control and keeping dogs on the leash. Finn, meanwhile, seems to be doing fine. No word on the deer, though. Maybe next time, buddy. More misbehaving animals. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. A cat named Max in St. Paul, Minnesota was well known for often sneaking into a local college library, but he didn't become famous until he was eventually banned from the premises, with the image of a poster declaring his banishment going viral online. Max, the orange cat, owned by a McAllister College professor, was caught on camera a month ago sneaking into the college library. Here's the visual evidence of the furry trespasser. He didn't limit himself to the library either, and has even paid visits to the university's Spanish and Portuguese department. Basically, Max comes and goes as he pleases, probably thinking he owns the place. He's even been documented straight up sitting on people's laptops while they're trying to study. Although people were always happy to see him, Max was becoming a distraction. There were also some concerns over his safety, and he has since been banned from entering the library. Meanwhile, Max's adventures have inspired people to create illustrations, fake library cards, and even a short comic strip in his honor. Max doesn't give up easily, though. One staffer tweeted that he hangs out by the door and tries to run into the library as soon as someone opens it.
Do you know Max the cat?
One thing Max's newfound fame has gotten him, some personal face-to-face time with McAllister president Brian Rosenberg.
Who's a clever boy, then? This dog proved he's smarter than your average pooch when he broke out of his kennel earlier this week and wandered off into the night. The 10-year-old Great Pyrenees named General was lodging at an animal hospital in Stafford, Virginia, while his owners went to Virginia Beach on vacation. And as you can see from the footage, perhaps he wanted out so he could go join them. At around 4:15 a.m. on Monday, General busted out of his temporary accommodation, then opened at least 4 different doors in his heroic bid for freedom. He'd been staying at the animal hospital for the previous 2 nights, but clearly had had enough. Here we see the 124-pound dog making his way down a hallway, then sniffing around an office area. If General looks familiar with the surroundings, his owner said that's because the clever canine had been visiting the hospital for the past 10 months. Finally, General uses his mouth to open a door that leads him outside to a parking lot. Then off he went into the night. Around 3 hours later, hospital staff discovered General was missing and called his owners. The search for the dog went on for most of Monday. He was eventually found at 9 p.m., around 17 hours after he went missing in action. General was sitting in the garden of a nearby home, happy to be in the great outdoors and out of his cage. The dog's owners cut short their vacation to search for the beloved pet, and they were eventually reunited. So who's a clever boy, then?
In Russia, animals have the right to bear arms. A wild bear turned the tables on a hunter after making off with not one, but 2 of the man's firearms. The 57-year-old had taken refuge at a remote cabin in Siberia's Irkutsk region and was out getting water when a brown bear snuck into his sanctuary. The animal seemed taken with some hunting rifles and latched onto them. When the man returned, he spotted the bear and quickly ran into the woods, where he hid for several hours. By the time he came back to the cabin, the bear was gone, but so were his Vepr carbine and IZH shotgun. For the next few days, the hunter searched the taiga for his guns, but failed miserably. He finally called the cops, who are now investigating the bizarre incident. So far, they found bite marks on a plastic bucket and scratches on some logs at the cabin. No leads on the rifle-stealing bear, though, who's probably out somewhere having fun at getting to be the hunter instead of the hunted. Meanwhile, the actual hunter is facing a fine and could forfeit his right to buy and use guns for a year. All thanks to a gun-crazy bear. Squirrel goes nuts on police officers. Officers investigating an errant squirrel in Brockport, New York last week got a taste of the rodent's mad ninja skills. Let's see that again. And one more time in slow motion. Look at that little guy go. According to the police department's Facebook page, the home invading squirrel was caught and released without injury. Badger breaks into home for catnap in a cat bed. Last week, a bad badger broke into a house in Linlithgow, Scotland. He slipped into the house unnoticed last Wednesday via a cat flap. To his delight, the place was stocked with cat food and a comfy cat bed. Mr. McBadger feasted on all the cat's food, then went into a food coma on the cat's bed. But his blissful slumber did not last, as a Scottish animal protection officer was called to the property and soon woke him. And that's when he made a run for it, fleeing back into the wild. There's no word from the cat, but we're sure he's pretty miffed.